Hello and welcome to my attempt at The Wall by Michael Lefkowitz, aka Juggler. Now this has already received a feature on YouTube by Cracking the Cryptic, no less, which would normally mean that I wouldn't also feature it because I like to try and prioritise the underappreciated puzzles if possible. However, I made an exception for this one for a couple of reasons. Firstly, when Juggler sent this over to me, he left a message along the lines of, I would find this easier than most other solvers. I don't know what he means by that, but it's a very tantalising message, isn't it? I don't know. I think I've got a reputation for being able to understand like weird global deductions, so maybe there's something along those lines going on. I don't know. We'll see. But yes, so it's very, very tempting to try and prove him right in that sense. Also, when Simon attempted this on Cracking the Cryptic, I saw that the video length was about 2 hours. Obviously, you can already see what this video length is, but so I might regret saying this, but 2 hours does feel quite beatable. Having said that, I am recording this much later than I had originally planned to, so my brain is probably a little bit fried. So some of the deductions might be a little bit slower than hoped, but we'll see. I'll set 2 hours as my goal, and we'll see if we can stick within that. And then the other reason is that Juggler Michael Lefkowitz is actually one of my supporters on Patreon. So thank you very much to him and the other supporters. Very much appreciated. I am kind of in the process at the moment of formulating ideas of how I can incentivise more people to join in. I don't want to hide really any content, ideally, behind a paywall. So we'll see how that goes. I think I'll hopefully have something more concrete in place over the next couple of months about what being a Patreon will do, being a patron will do. However, for now, using that as a little extra excuse to give this puzzle a go seemed apt. So, for many reasons, this puzzle looks very tempting to try. So let's give it a go. What are the rules? Place the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row and column. That's this grid. We are given some space outside the grid, but the rows and the columns are in here. I might even paint this wall orange. Walls are orange, aren't they? There we go. So that is our grid space. And actually, having done that, you can kind of see tiny little white lines along here, which do show that we've got 2 cells per brick, or per rectangular brick anyway. So we've got that. I'm not going to be solving this puzzle in under 2 hours if I'm spending this long on normal Sudoku rules. Well, normal Latin square rules. We don't have 3x3 boxes in this puzzle. Individuality. No 2 bricks have the same digits. This is a reference, isn't it, to I should know this, I should have done my research, Pink Floyd song, I think. I don't know if it's got something to do with individuality or commonality in the lyrics. I should have probably researched that. Apologies if I'm outing myself as being culturally uneducated. No 2 bricks have the same digits regardless of order. So if we decided that this was a 5 and a 7, then we couldn't then put, for example, a 7 and a 5 in here. Actually, I'm going to un-orange all of this. I don't think that's going to be helpful. And finally, commonality. A brick's commonality is the number of bricks that have the same sum, including itself. A circled digit on a brick shows its commonality, and an inequality symbol points to the less common brick. Have we really been recording for 5 minutes? Whoops, okay. Okay, so those are the rules. I would give an example of the commonality rule set, but I think I would need to start understanding it and effectively solving it first. So let's check that we're recording, and we are. And let's restart the clock, and let's give this a go. Right, where do we start? I feel like these chains are going to be significant of more common to less common. No, the first thing I want to do, actually, is count the number of bricks. It's 45, isn't it? So each row seems to have 5 bricks in it. 4 2-cell bricks and a 1-cell brick. Ah, right, okay, so straight away... Oh, the commonality is the number of bricks that have the same sum. So, I mean, I could see that we could put a 1 in here, and as long as we don't put a 1 in any of these, then that's immediately correct, because there would only be 1 brick in the whole puzzle. With a sum of 1. Interesting. It doesn't say that the circles all have to be different digits. Does it? No. No, it doesn't. So, I mean, obviously these 4 all have to be different digits, but there's nothing saying that we couldn't have both of those being a 5, for example. Okay, yeah, this is going to take a bit of deep understanding. Let's think about the combinations. Okay, well, there are 15 different sums, aren't there? No, 17. We do have 1-digit numbers. Yeah, okay, so there are 17 different sums that we can achieve in bricks. And the fact that all of these have to be different might therefore be interesting. Ah, right. No, okay. Okay, think. So 17. Let's do this, okay. No 2 bricks have the same digits regardless of order. That's going to be crucial. How can I present this? I'm going to try and use this as a note-taking area, but it's going to end up looking quite messy. Right. First of all, let me just write... how can I do this? Like this? 7... Whoops. Do bear with me. I will explain what I'm doing in a moment. Whoops. 10, 11, 12. Are we going to have enough space? Yes, we are. Actually, I can make that look like that, can't I? 14, 15, 16, 17. Right. Okay, I'm now going to do red, I think. This is an awful lot of stuff. And my brain is too focused on making this, making this look presentable to be able to multitask and explain why I'm doing all of this. My only hope is that I actually remember why I'm doing all of this by the time I've drawn all of these in. Okay. So, right, the plan is... Okay, cool, done. The plan is that I'm going to write down how many different ways there are of making each sum. So, for example, 1, there's only one way. to make a sum of 1. In fact, I might even make these big digits, because I don't think we're going to go past 4, are we? There's one way of making a sum of 1, and that's just one of these single digits being a 1. There's two ways of... there's one way of making a 2, and that's one of these being a 2. We can have a 3, or we can have a 1-2 pair to sum to 3. So there's two ways of making a 3. Yeah, you might say with 2, well, we could have a 2, and then we could have 2 1s in a brick, but we can't because of Sudoku rules. We couldn't put 2 1s next to each other. 4, you can have a 4 on its own, and you can have a 1-3 pair in a 2-cell brick. Let me just check. Yeah, all of these rows are just 4 2-cellers and a single seller. Yeah, okay, that's all good. 5, you can have 1 4, 2 3, and then just a 5 on its own. 6, you can have 1 5, 2 4, and a 6 on its own. 7, there are 3 different ways of summing to it with a pair of digits, and also we could have the digit 7 on its own. Same with 8. With 9, there's 4 different ways of summing to it with a pair of digits, and you can just have 9 on its own. With 10, you can't have a 10 on its own, so it must be 4 different ways of summing to 10. 4 different ways of summing to 11, in 2 digits this is. Lots more ways if you're adding extra digits. 3 different ways of summing to 12, 3 different ways of summing to 13, 2 different ways of summing to 14, 5 and 9 and 6 and 8, 6 and 9 and 7 and 8, 7 and 9, 8 and 9. Okay. Now we add all of those up. So 1 plus 1 plus 2 plus 2 plus 3, we're up to 9, plus 3 is 12, plus, let's do 13 there, so we're up to 25, plus another 11 gives us 36, 41, 45. I'm not surprised. I'm not remotely surprised that that's our answer. I was expecting it to be 45, and that's going to be very, very relevant because there are exactly 45 bricks. However, I am just going to double check that. So 1 plus 1 plus 2 plus 2 plus 3 is 9, isn't it? Yes, it is. So doing that again gives us 18. Plus 4 lots of 4, that's 16, so we're up to 34. Plus 2 lots of 3 gets us up to 40, plus 5. Yeah, okay, I've added them up in 2 different ways now, and I've got 45 both times, so I'm quite confident of that. So, what that means is that we must have all of these different combinations that we've said are possible, which means that these 9 cells are a set of the digits 1 to 9, because we must have all of these single digit numbers appearing as a single digit, because those are the combinations that we said were possible, so they must happen because there are only 45 combinations possible. I think I've made the point, hopefully. I do like my YouTube solves in particular to be very, very clear when I'm explaining logic. Twitch not so much, because most of my Twitch viewers, I know who's in my Twitch chat at any given time, and most of the time it's experienced solvers and setters, so I can kind of skip over logic a little bit, but yes, I mean, let me know in the comments if I'm over-explaining or under-explaining anything, or getting too easily sidetracked. Right, speaking of which, so we do have... Oh, so is this actually a 1 then? Hang on, let me read the rules again. A brick's commonality is the number of bricks that have the same sum, including itself. Yeah, it must be a 1. Because if this was, say, a 5, then we're saying that there are 5 different bricks that have a sum of 5, and yet we know that there are exactly 3 bricks that have a sum of 5. So this is a 1. Yeah, I think actually, just so that I don't confuse the external cells with the internal cells, we could do an anti-wall and make the frame of the wall orange instead, or should we keep it red, because that's the lines that I've gone with. Let's do that. That's created this strange white border around the grid, but that's okay. That looks much, much better if you don't have an annoying solver fiddling around with daft graphics around the outside of the grid. So my apologies to Michael for ruining your lovely aesthetics. But I think this is going to be helpful for me. In fact, let's just do that as well. So we've got a full border of the Sudoku grid. Right. We double check that we're recording. Shout out to anyone who is a fan of GeoWizard, who's gained a reputation for constantly checking if he's recording his YouTube videos or not. And we are, so that's good. 16 minutes. Not a bad start, actually. I think. We've got a digit, which is important. Right. So. Oh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a chain of 5 bricks getting less common. Well, that's the longest chain we can possibly have. If this has a commonality of 5, this has a commonality of 4, and we can pick any of our 4 sums. This has a commonality of 3. This is 2. And this is 1. Then that's going to work. So that's a 2. Because that's the only other brick, the only other single digit brick that has a commonality of 1. So this must have a commonality of 2. So the options for that are 3, 4, 14 or 15. Well, it's not going to be a 3 because that would be a 1-2 pair. And this can be neither 1 nor 2. But 4, 14 and 15 all work. But crucially, these two will now sum to 9. We now know that. That's really good. And I don't know how to mark this. Shall I put like a 2 in the corner? 3, 4, 5, just to show the commonalities? I don't know if that's just going to confuse me, and I'm going to look at that and think, well, obviously that can't be a 2 because there's a 2 right there. I'll leave it in for now, and then we'll delete it if it gets too confusing. But this is catching my eye as well because this is another string. This one can't have. Oh no, it can have a commonality of 5. No, it must have a commonality of 5. Oh, that's the point, isn't it? Right, yes, because this can't have a commonality of 1. No, it can have a commonality of 1. Oh, okay. Right, sorry, this can have a commonality of 1 if it's 16 or 17. So it could go 1, 2, 3, 4. So this could have a commonality of 4. Okay. Ooh. Oh, this is interesting, actually. These are all commonality digits, aren't they? So... And they can't be 1. Because if they were 1, we would expect them to sum to 1, which 2 different digits can't do, 2, which different digits can't do. I mean, obviously that's not 1, but let's say that one. We tried to put a 1 in here. 16, not going to work because 1 plus 15 isn't a Sudoku digit, and neither is 16. So, yeah, 1 is not part of the sum to 16 or the sum to 17. So we can't put a 1 in any of these. So they must be a 2, 3, 4, 5 quadruple. And that's not a 2. The 2... Right, the one with the commonality of 2 must be... oh, that's nice. Must be with a 1. Ah, and that's going to give us a digit. Right, brilliant, because the only brick that has a commonality of 2 and also contains the digit 2 is this one. Because in a brick summing to 4, it's either a 4 or a 1-3 pair. These are either 5-9 or 6-8. 6-9 or 7-8. None of those include a 2. So it has to be this one, and it has to be a 2-1 pair. So it can't be this one, because we can't make that a 1. But it also can't be this one, because we can't make this a 1. So this is a 2, this is a 1. And this gives us that these two have a commonality of 1, because they're less than 2. But it can't be 1 or 2. We can't be summing to 1 or 2 in 2 different digits. So these must be our 16 and 17. And they both include a 9. So one of them is an 8-9 pair. The other one is a 7-9 pair. Okay. This is good. We are making progress. I hope we can keep this up. This is probably the point at which I should confess that I did drop into a Twitch stream. I believe it was Nell Gwyn's Twitch stream. Do check her out, very good streamer. While she was solving this puzzle. And I desperately tried not to look at the grid at all, and I was just chatting away a little bit, and then I went off and did something else. And I think I did a pretty good job of not giving myself any spoilers. But I think she was around this stage in the puzzle, because I do remember a 2 and a 1 being somewhere in this area of the grid. So I now feel good that we've found that 2-1. That's the only piece of information that my brain seemed to pick up at all when I was, accidentally glancing at the grid. So we've now found it. I now have no more spoilers to give because I can't remember anything else that I saw on that grid. So we're good. Right, I am very good at getting sidetracked, even when I don't have Twitch chat to sidetrack me. It's because I don't know what to look at next. I suppose we could almost tick these off, couldn't we? Yeah, that's a better way of colouring the outside. Let's do that. Let's uncolour everything. Yeah. I think I'm happy with my decision. But now let's actually make this red, because we've got our 1 brick that we're allowed that sums to 1. We've got our 1 brick that we're allowed that sums to 2. We've got one of the 2 bricks that's allowed to sum to 3. So I won't make that red just yet. We haven't exactly pinpointed where our 16 and 17 go, but I'm happy enough with that I feel like I can make those red. Okay. Ooh, here's the point. One of those will be a 4, because the only brick that has a commonality of 5 is a brick that sums to 9. So one of these will be a 5, and the digit it goes with will therefore be the digit that you need to put with 5 to sum to 9, and that is 4. That's interesting for this digit, which now can no longer be 4. Sorry, 5, because if this was a 5, we would expect this to be a 4 for the reasons I just gave. But there's a 3, 4, 5 triple in the column. So this is not going to be 5. It's 2, 3 or 4, but I don't think it can be a 2. Yeah, we've already said that the only 2-cell brick that's allowed to have a 2 in a circle is a 2 and a 1 summing to 3. And that's already been taken, so that's not a 2. It's a 3 or a 4. If it's a 3, it could go with... Well, it can't go with a 2. I'm just thinking, if it's a 3, it's either going to sum to 5 or 6 or 12 or 13. Well, it can't be 5, because that would imply that's a 2, and there's a 2 in the column. It can't be 6, because that would imply there's a 3, and that breaks the column and the row, if we're putting a 3 in here. So it would have to be a 12. It can't be a 13, because we can't put a 10 just here. So if that's a 3, that's a 9. And if this is a 4, then we're either summing to 7, which we can't be, because that would put a 3 just here. 4 plus 3 is 7. Or 8, but that puts a 4 here, so that breaks. Or 10, which puts a 6 here, that works annoyingly. Or 11, which puts a 7 here, which again works annoyingly. So this is, if this is a 3, this is a 9. If this is a 4, then 6 and 7 both work. Okay. We do have to bear in mind that these sum to 9. We might have to be a bit careful with that. I don't think so, though. Also, these 4 digits, I mean, they don't include 1 or 2, because all of the single digit bricks are different. Let's think about this brick, because it's a single digit. We've had 1 and 2. So it can't be 3 or 4, because that implies that this has a commonality of 1. And we've had our 1 commonality bricks. We've had them all. We don't have any left. We can't create any more. So this can't have a commonality of 2. If it has a commonality of 3, well, it's 5, 6, 7, 8 or 9. Well, it's not 9, because there's definitely a 9 over here. If this is a 5, then that implies this has a commonality of... No, but that's quite easy to achieve, because, I mean, we could even make it a 1-3 pair. We can't make it a 1-2 pair, because there's 2's in both columns already, but we can make it a 1-3 pair summing to 4. But we could just as easily make it sum to 14 or 15, and then this would have a commonality of 2. Okay, let's think about this one then. Do I want to do that? Yeah, I think both of these are 3, 4, 5, aren't they? Is there any problem with making this a 5? This would be a 4. What did I say? A 3 always goes with... Oh no, this 3 went with a 9, but that was specifically because we had a 2, 3, 4, 5. Quad. Well, that said, the only other thing a 3 can go with is 2. A circled 3 anyway. You know, if this is a 3, sure, we can pair it up with a 2 just here. That was a problem over here because of this 2. It's not a problem here. But we can't pair it up with another 3, summing to 6. And we can't pair it up with a 10, summing to 13. So if either of these two are a 3, then they will pair with a 2 or a 9. Okay. Apologies if you hear any doors in the background. But anyway, I'm sure you can all cope. The question is, can I cope? Can I stay focused? And the answer at 10:30 at night, probably getting on for 11 actually, is maybe. So a 4, a circled 4. Right, hold on, let's just do this. So if this is a 3, we put it with a 2 or a 9. If it's a circled 4, it goes with a 3, not another 4, a 6 or a 7. 3, 6 or 7. And if it's a 5, it always goes with a 4. Okay, that's quite interesting, because either if this is a 3, it goes with 2 or 9, but if it's not a 3, there's always a 4 in one of these. Oh, so that gives us a virtual pair on 3s, right? Yeah, we can't avoid putting a 3 in one of these, because if we tried to, we made that a 4 and that a 5, well, the 5 goes with a 4, so we'd get a clash here. So one of these does have to be a 3. That does take a 3 out of this corner, and that one, which is very sad, but we'll cope. And that 4... Right, that was the 4-3 option. That was this 7. Okay. Do we have a similar thing up here? I don't think we do. No. I need to think more broadly, don't I? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 circled digits here. And the options for those circled digits are a 3 with... Let's actually just draw it out over here. So if it's a 3, it always goes with 2 or 9. Yeah. If it's a 4, it always goes with 3, not 4, 6 or 7. Yeah, 3, 6 or 7. And if it's a 5, it goes with 4. It just does. That's the only thing it can go with. Right, okay, and that's 6 options, isn't it? And that's 6 circles, isn't it? Right, and we actually know that one of these must be a 5. Oh, this is so clever. What brilliant setting. Yeah, we know that one of these must be a 5 because it's a 3, 4, 5 triple. So that must be, one of these 3 must be our 5, 4. And that's the only 5, 4 that we're getting. So let's remove that option, because we know, well, roughly where it goes. So these can't be 5, 4 anymore. So we take 5 out of there. Now by Sudoku, we can say that those 2 are different, and those 2 are different. So those 2 are the same. So whatever this digit is, must appear in those 2 positions, and once in the 3, 4, 5 triple. So there must be 3 different options for this circled digit to exist, and that's not 3, so it must be 4. So these must be 4. Oh, let's come off colours. And these must be our options for 4, 3, 6 and 7, along with one of those. But this one's not a 3 because this is a 3, and that's actually a real digit, and that gives us a 9. Right. Okay. Because this can't be a 2, the options to go with a circled 3 were 2 and 9, and there's a 2 here. So this must be the 3, 9, so one of these must be the 3-2, and it can't be that one because there's a 2 in the column already. Okay, we are flying. We are absolutely flying. This is great. So that's a 6 or 7. Let's take these pencil marks out, I think. Yeah, I'm going to try and remember what's going on with those. I'm almost tempted to do that because one of those will be a 3 with a 2. Yeah, I'll do that and I'll get rid of those notations. Right. So this is either going to be a 4 with a 3, 6 or 7, or it's going to be a 5 with a 4. That's quite a hefty pencil mark, but I think that's not a bad shout. Okay. Right, well that was a flurry of activity, but what does it mean? We've had half an hour. I'm still on course, I reckon, for at least challenging Simon's time. And I feel like I've explained all of the logical steps just as thoroughly as Simon would, because I think part of the reason when Simon does take a long time over a solve, part of the reason for that is because he is going into a lot more detail than he would usually feel the need to explain all of his thought processes, because, you know, YouTube is a public space. But I think I'm doing the same thing, and for good measure, I keep getting sidetracked. So I think it's a fair race. Okay. One thing we've learned about this is that there is always a 4 on this brick. Either that's a 4, or if it's not a 4, then it's a 5 going with a 4. But I don't know what that tells us about the rest of the row. Oh, one thing I can do actually. I think all of the logic to get that this was 5, 6, 7 or 8 is valid over here. Yeah, because we've already used up all of our one commonality bricks. So this can't even have a commonality of 2, because that would imply these have a commonality of 1. Oh no, but we also took a 9 out of there because of the 9's pencil marked into here, which we couldn't do over here. And I don't really want to put 5 digits into this cell. It's looking a little bit difficult to find a home for the digit 4 in our kind of extra region here. Certainly if this was a 4, then I think those would be the only two. Oh no, that wouldn't be an option, because I've literally just said that's at least 5. Maybe it is worth doing this then. So if this is a 4, I think that forces that to be a 4. I think that's the only single digit brick that can accommodate a 4. But if we don't put a 4 there, then we can just put 1 in either of these positions. Oh no, not this position, but yeah. Right, okay, so we do definitely have a 4 in one of those two. So, I mean, this digit can't be a 4 because that sees both of those. I don't really feel like that's the... Okay, it is not the next step, but it's the step after that. Oh dear, okay, this took a little bit too long to see. One of these is a 5, right? With a 4 next to it. I don't know when we put a 4 there. It was a few minutes ago, wasn't it? Oh dear, alright, that was a very, very, very natural next step. And it took me several minutes to spot. I do apologise. So we can't put a 5 here because that would place a 4 here. We can't put a 5 here because that would place a 4 here. So let's place a 5 here with a 4 here, and now we can ask, where does 4 go in a single digit brick? It's not any of those anymore. It's not that one by Sudoku. It's not that one because this would have to have a commonality of 1, which it can't do because we've used all of the 1 commonality bricks, and it can't be this one by Sudoku. So that digit there is a 4, but I think more importantly we can now take 5s out of there. This is a 3-4 pair. The 3 will pair with a 2, and the 4 will pair with a 6 or 7. We said that a circled 4 goes with 3, 6 or 7. Well, there's a 3 in this column, so this will be from 6 and 7, which means the only circled 4 that can pair with a 3 is this one. So that gives us a 3 there. Now are we struggling to put 3s in a single digit brick? Not really. Yeah, we've got a few options. I mean, that cell sees all of those options, so we can't make that a 3, but I don't think we were planning to change that to a 3 anyway. Right. Where do we go next then? I am quite pleased with how much progress we've made. It doesn't feel like 36 minutes have passed. We've not ever been stuck for too long, but I absolutely shouldn't have said that, should I? That was a terrible idea. Right, shall we think about this chain a bit more? Is there anything more we can say about this? This sums to 9. This sums to 9, and it's not 3, 6 or 4, 5, so it is 1, 8 or 2, 7. But the 1 and the 2 in the bottom row, well, one of them therefore definitely does go in here. The other one must go in here. I'm just thinking, if this is a 7, I don't think it is. Yeah, let's try this. If this is a 7, then that makes this a 1-8 pair. Then we've got a 2 in here. Well, our remaining digits in the row are 2, 5 and 6. And yet we know... Oh, hold on a second. Oh, right, okay. Yes, I've been thinking all this time, well, because this is only a chain of 4 inequalities, or 4 bricks in a chain of inequalities, 3 inequalities, we've got this kind of degree of freedom where this might be a commonality of 5, 4, 3, 2, but it could also be 4, 3, 2, 1, or we could put a jump somewhere in there, like 5, 4, 2, 1. But no, that's not possible, because as I've said several times already in this video, we have already used up all of our 1 commonality digits. Bricks. So this can't have a commonality of 1. So it must have a commonality of 2. So that must be a commonality of 3, that must be a commonality of 4, that must be a commonality of 5, and the only way to achieve that is to make it sum to 9. And because 3, 6 and 4, 5 have been taken, this is going to be 1, 2, 7 and 8. That gives us a 6 here, that gives us a 5 here, which takes 5 out of there. It takes 6 out of here. It does actually mean that one of these two will be a 6. Oh, actually, 5 is out of here as well, isn't it? Because we've now just put 5 in a single cell brick. So we've now actually got 1, 2, 4 and 5 appearing in single cell bricks. But we've not yet had 6, and that's going to be in one of those two. I think I just said that, but that's okay. Oh, my voice is going a little bit raspy. I do apologise. Had a lot of teaching today, and now I'm recording a video of side tracks with a little bit of solving in between. Okay. Should we think about these actually? Because we need to be a bit careful. So, could we make these? We can't. Oh, it's brilliant. Okay, right, so we can't... These both have a commonality of 2. So our options are 3, 4, 14 and 15, right? But we've used the only 2-digit brick that sums to 3. The other one is going to be a single-digit 3 in one of those... one of those 2 positions. So neither of these can sum to 3. So they're going to be 4, 14 or 15. But can they both be high? Can these be a 14 sum, 15 sum pair? And the answer is no, because, well, 14 plus 15 is 29, and the only way to achieve 29 in 4 cells is 5, 7, 8, 9. And that would make this cell a bit of a problem. So, one of these is a 1-3 pair, but then I don't know what the other one is. Yeah, okay. If this was the 1-3 pair, obviously this would be the 3. That would force this to be a 3. Because it would have nowhere else to go in our single-digit bricks. Okay. I'm going to have a look at these 4s as well, actually, because we do now have digits in row 8 of the wall. So, our options for 4 are summing to 7, 8, 10, 11. That all seems fine, doesn't it? Oh, hold on. This is a 4-6 pair. So we can't have any more 4-6 pairs. So the 4 that must go in a circle in one of these 2 bricks must now be paired with a 7. So that's not 7. So, is that interesting? For this brick, that can't be a 7 now, or a 2. Well, it's not 1, 2, 3, 4 or 7, and it's not 5. So this is 6, 8 or 9. If it's something like 6, no, all of those are fine. I'm going to have to do some serious bookkeeping somehow, aren't I? I'm just thinking, like, it's now relevant that I've used 4, 6 as a pair. I need to remember that, because, like, if this is a 6, sure, we can make this a 1, something to 7. We can make it a 2, something to 8. But, well, okay, alright, fair enough. That's a bad example, because 4 and 5 are both ruled out by Sudoku anyway. But yeah, we can't make this a 4, because that would be repeating that. Okay. sure what we're meant to do then. I want to find a way to notate that this is going to be a 1-3 pair, and then I mean, we don't know. Well, 2 and 4 in this row must both go in here, because they don't go here, and they're not part of either a 1-3 pair or digits that sum to 14 or 15. So, like, 4 is a bit restricted. I've just realised. Yeah, we absolutely could have done the opening logic in a completely different way. Yeah, forget sums. We didn't have to do sums at all. You can just think, like, in a 2-cell brick, how many different 2-cell bricks can a 1 appear in? And the answer is it can go with a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8. Or 9, sorry, I'm thinking 8 because there are 8 results. Yeah. I had 8 on the mind. But yeah, there are 8 different bricks that, or 8 different digits that 1 can share a brick with. 2 can share a brick with 1, except we've already counted that 1 as part of our original 8. So it can share a brick with 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 1 can share a brick with 8 different digits. 2 can share a brick with 7 different digits, because we've already counted 1 and 2 sharing a brick. Then 3 adds another 6 different possibilities, and you get the 8th triangular number, which is 36, and then you add the 9 single digit bricks in as well, and you get up to 45. So that's actually another way to think about the break-in, which is equally nice, I think. If not nicer, because it's much more direct and much more mathematical than just making a list of 17 different numbers and adding them all up and getting to 45. But I think it's important that we did this, because this is really important information for the commonality part of the rule set. But hey, look, at least that sidetrack was relevant to the puzzle, so be grateful. Right, 3s. Yeah, I'm looking at these, and I'm not feeling very hopeful, because they could sum to 5 or 6 or 12 or 13. What's that telling us? I don't know. We have 5s in both of these columns now. Right, yeah, so that can't specifically be a 5-9 pair, but that's one of many options that it could have been. If we can take 6 out of here somehow, that would be very useful. It would give us a 7, 8, 9 triple, and it would also place a 6 in the single digit bricks. So if this is a 6, that's a commonality of 3, so we would want this to have a commonality of 2. But, I mean, there are so many options. It couldn't be 3 and 1, summing to 4. It couldn't be 1 and 2, summing to 3. So it would have to be a 14 or a 15. Again, it couldn't specifically be 5, 9, but it could still be 6, 8, or 6, 9, or 7, 8. No, it could be 6, 9. Yeah. Oh no, let's not grind to a halt now. Come on. What is it I'm missing? Oh, I've had such a promising first half hour or so as well. But maybe I'll be eating humble pie by the end of this. Come on. 1, 6, 7, 8 into these cells. What is that telling us? This is either a 1 with a 3, or it's a 6, 7 or 8 with a 9, 8, 7 or 6. Not 6. 9, 8 or 7. Because there's a 6 in one of these. No, that's just not going to do it, is it? It's probably this, because we've actually got information about row 8. Okay, let's revisit this. If this is 6, this is 1 or 2, because it can't be a 4 or 5 summing to 10 or 11. Let's just put that in for now. If this is 8, we're not summing to 7 or 8, so we're either summing to 10 with a 2, or 11 with a 3, but it's not a 3. Oh! Okay, and if this is 9, then we're not summing to 7 or 8, we must be summing to 10 with a 1 or 11 with a 2. So this is always 1 or 2. That's really weird. But we're not going to have the same restriction over here, are we? Let's just find out. Is there any way we can avoid putting a 1 or 2 in here? I mean, I feel like it's quite likely a 1 or 2 will go in here, because it doesn't go in here because we've already had our 1 and 2 for a single digit bricks. But let's just try it. If we don't put a 1 or 2 in it, well, we must put a 3 in it, because otherwise we're going up to 6 plus 7, which is not a commonality of 4. So 3 plus 7 works. I don't think we've had a 3, 7 yet. And 3 plus 8 summing to 11 is also fine. Oh, this is fiendish. Is there some combination that's somehow forced that I'm not aware of? Okay, if we tried putting a 7 in here, seven 1 is fine, 7 3 is fine. I was just thinking 7 4 isn't fine because we've already got a 7 4 in there, but I mean obviously 7 4 isn't fine because there's a 4 literally there. Okay, that's clearly not it, is it? There's something else going on. Could it be something like where does a 7-8 pair go? That feels like a terrible question to ask. Like, it's not going to go in either of these rows because that would break these bricks, but that's just not going to be it, is it? Oh, it did feel like a really important deduction that one of these needed to be a 1-3 pair. I suppose I could highlight this kind of orange because I'm really close to narrowing down. Well, we've got the single digit 4, and one of those must be the double digit 4. So we've kind of got both of them, but we're not quite there yet. 5, we're not far off getting all of the 5s. The only one left is 4 and 1, which this one can't be. Okay, is that something? So what I'm seeing there is that we've already accounted for a 3 and a 2, summing to 5. We've already accounted for the single digit 5. So the only 5 brick that we've got left is a 4 and a 1. And this can't be a 4-1 pair because, well, 4's just unavailable. And this cell would be broken. So if this is a commonality of, well, it is a commonality of 3. So it sums to 6 or 12 or 13. If it sums to 6, it can't be a 4-2 pair. We don't have space for it, so it would have to be a 1 there with a 5 there. If it's 12, then I can see that, yeah, we've already had the 3-9. So I think it would have to be a 5 there with a 7 there. Okay. This is getting a bit interesting. Yeah, okay, and then if it's a 13, it can't be 4-9. Of course it can be 6-7. Okay, but because of this 2-7 pair, it would be this way round, with the 6 there and the 7 there. And if it's a 5-8 pair, yeah, 5-8 is possible as well, so that's what we end up with. I mean, if we could prove this isn't 8 or 9, which we almost can because we do have a high digit there, and then we're also going to have a high digit summing to either 14 or 15 in our 2 commonality brick. Oh, I am getting so bogged down. This is the point where I do appreciate Twitch chat. For all of their distractions, I'm sure someone in Twitch chat would probably have found the next step by now. What is it? If this was something like 5-7, oh, this can just be 4-9. There's no problem with that. Maybe this always has a 4 in it. No, that's nonsense. Surely that's nonsense. No, it can be 6-7, and that's still got the ability to be either 5-8 or 5-1. It's not like 6 in this column now, is it? Now that we've reduced that to 1, 7 or 8? I don't think so. I'll write 5, 6, 8, 9 into here. Because we do... that's just from the column. What's left in the column? Yeah, because whichever one of these two is 14 or 15, both of those digits will be from 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So we're 4/5 of the way to a quintuple there. And then the 2 and 4... I mean, if we could find somewhere else where the 2 must go with a 4, then that would tell us that that's a 2 or 4. But I don't know where that place would be. Just because if that wasn't a 2 or 4, then we'd get a septuple in the row once we factor in the 1-3 pair as well. So this would become a 2-4 pair. So if there's some reason why that can't be a 2-4 pair, that would be much appreciated. But I don't see how to do that. Oh my goodness, it's been like half an hour since my last proper deduction. Let's have a look at this one. rubbish though. Surely. Surely it can be anything. Right, what have we done so far? We did a bunch of counting. We got that the circles were a 2, 3, 4, 5 quad. We were able to place the 2. We then got that these were 3 and 4 because of what else is possible with a circled digit. We placed them. This 4 gave us that this had to be the 5. That gave us a 3-4 pair, and because this was the 4-6 pair, this had to be a 4 and a 7 with a 3 and a 2. We got these chains of inequalities. I mean, I've not thought about this inequality yet, but how do I think about that in a useful way? I've not thought much about this inequality, but I have thought a little bit about it, and it's not been very fruitful. You know, this could easily just sum to 14 or 15. Oh, I was so hopeful half an hour ago that I was going to beat Simon's time, but I just have no clue where to go next. I mean, the other way of thinking about this piece, this puzzle, like generally, is that every digit has to pair with every other digit once in a brick. So, for example, we must have, say, a 4 and a 1 together. We must have a 7 and a 5 together somewhere. Is it the 4 and the 1, actually? That's a really good question. Is it the 4 and the 1? Because we can't have a 4 and a 1 pairing together in row 1. The 1's already taken. The 4's taken in row 2. The 1's taken in row 3. The 4's taken in row 4. We'll come back to row 5. The 1 is taken in row 6 because there's definitely a 1-3 pair in one of those two. Row 7 is possible as well. But it's not row 8 or row 9 because 4's been taken again. We do have a lot of 4's. Maybe that's the question we need to ask. We need to come up with a digit that feels important. It might even be 2. Yeah, 2 is a good one. 2 is a really good one. Where can we get a 4 pairing with a 2? If this is the question you're meant to ask, what a specific question. I mean, well, no, let's ask it first, and then celebrate the fact that we asked it when we get there. So, if we tried to... Right, yeah, so in these pairs, it's the 3 that pairs with the 2 and the 4 that pairs with the 7, in some order. So we can't put a 4-2 pair anywhere over here because that would break both of those. Hold on. How long has this 2 been looking at this 2-7 pair? You are kidding. You are kidding me. You are kidding me. That is embarrassing. That's really embarrassing. That's what happens when you're recording close to midnight. I'm so... Oh my goodness. The good news, and there is good news, is that I don't think it's actually going to do that much. It might make this next step, which I think was necessary anyway, it might make this next step a bit easier to see. Oh you are kidding. Can you tell I usually have Twitch chat to tell me these kind of things? When there's something that obvious. Yeah, okay, alright. I don't think... I sincerely apologise to all of you who have thrown your device across the room in anger that I didn't spot that half an hour ago. That's literally been about half an hour. But I really don't think that it would have helped much with the next step. I hope it wouldn't have. So the question I'm going to ask is, where can we pair a 4 with a 2? Oh no, there are two options. There are two options. It's not row 1 because the 2's taken. It's not row 2. It's not row 3. It's not row 4. It's not row 5. It's not row 8. It's not row 9. But it could be 6 or 7. And actually 6 is quite likely, isn't it? If we just make that not a 4 or 2, then that actually forces 4 and 2 into here. So that makes that very likely. But it's also equally likely that we put a 4 and a 2 together here. Oh dear. Oh, how embarrassing. That is awful. That is awful. So is it 4 and 9? Four and 9. Okay, we've got. Let's think of it in these terms. Let's actually highlight the digit that goes with 4 in any given row, because we've got 6, 5, and 7, and 3. So we need to find places for 4 to pair with 1, 2, not 4, obviously, 8 and 9. 1, 2, 8, and 9. Well, it's not going to pair with 1 or 2 over here, so it will pair with 8 or 9. Have we just got that digit? That is fiendish if that's what you're meant to do. Wow. Okay, I feel a bit less bad about this horrendous blunder. Is that what you're meant to do? So in this row, we can't pair 4 with 3? Well, with 1 or 2, because they're taken in the row, or 3, or 4 because you can't pair a digit with itself, or 5, or 6, or 7, so we must be pairing 4 with 8 or 9 in this row. So 1 of 8 and 9 goes with the 4, and the other 2 of 7, 8 and 9 go in this brick here. So this is a 6. Wow. Wow, okay. That is a 6. So this has a commonality of 3, which means this pair has to have a commonality of 2. It's not the 3-1 pair. It's not the 2-1 pair because we've got 2's in both of these columns. So it must sum to 14 or 15. It can't have a 5 in it, so it's not a 5-9 pair. If it's a 6-8 pair, it goes in that order. And if it's a 7-8 pair, it goes in either order. And if it's a 6-9 pair, that's the 9. Okay. No, but this is still good. This is still good because we can keep asking where 4 pairs with other digits. So in row 1, it must pair with 8 or 9 because it's not going to be 1, 2, 3, 5, 6 or 7. Same thing in row 3. So in row 6 and 7, those are the only 2 places where it can pair with a 1 or a 2. Right? Yeah. But it can't pair with a 1 in row 6. Why did I think there were multiple options for where 4 could go with a 1? Oh, maybe I thought... Yes, right, row 5 was an option when I hadn't resolved this 2-7 pair yet. Okay. I still think that's a really difficult point to see, but it would certainly have been at least a little bit easier if I'd resolved that. So, yeah, let's not dwell on it too much longer. So, the 4-1 pair can't go in here because we know that one of these will be a 1-3 pair. So, in here, there must be a 1-4 pair. And actually, putting it there seems quite likely because 1 and 4 does have a commonality of 3. But the 2-4 pair now has to go in row 6. And it doesn't go here. It doesn't have a commonality of 2, so it can't go here. It's not here. That's not a 4 or a 2. So this is a 2-4 pair. And actually this means this is quite high. Which is at least a little bit interesting. Maybe. It might be actually. I'm not sure. So. Oh, hold on. I can get rid of a 1 here, can't I? Yeah, that's true because we just said that there's a 4-1 pair somewhere in here. So, well, it's not here because there's a 4 here and here. So we either get a 4-1 pair here or here. And what do we know about this? It's a commonality of 3, so we're either summing to... Well, it doesn't look like we're summing to 5 or 6 anymore. So we're summing to 12 or 13. And actually, I think that leaves 3 options there. Okay. One thing we've done is place a 6 over here, which means these are now reduced to a 3, 7, 8, 9 triple. Should we do that? Go on. But that's not 3. Okay. So do we have to ask more questions like that? Like, I don't know, where does a 2 go with a 3? That feels like a bad question. Where does a 2 go with a 9? That feels like a slightly better question. Because it's not row 1, it's not row 3, it's not row 4, there's a 9 in there, it's not row 5, it's not row 6 because that's a 2-4 pair. Yeah, okay, and it's not row 9, so it's row 2, 7 or 8, that's a lot of options. Maybe that's not the right question then. Fours were quite fruitful, weren't they? But I don't know. What can this be? It's probably where the 4-1 goes. There's a very good chance that that's just a 4-1 pair, and that ticks off where we place the 4-1. Hold on, let's think about this row again, because we said that the 4... Ooh. Yeah, the 4 goes with an 8 or 9 in here. Same over here, the 4 goes with an 8 or 9. So the remaining digits in here will be a 3-5 pair. So one of these two bricks is a 3-5 pair. Is that doing anything for us? I don't know. Let's have another look at this one. Surely we can narrow this down now. This has a commonality of 2. Oh no, it can still just be 3-1. What's the problem with that? I don't think there is one. It could also sum to 14 or 15. We might run out of 14s and 15s soon, because we know that there's one of them in here. And we know that there's one of them in here, but there's still 2 left. Will this definitely sum to 14 or 15? No, absolutely not. That could sum to as low as 11. It really could actually, if the brick summing to 14 or 15 over here was a 7-8 pair. That seems really quite likely. Oh, I thought I'd made a bit of a breakthrough, but I don't really think it did anything. Which probably means I'm missing some normal Sudoku again. Which is a horrifying thought. 1, 6, 7 and 8. Do we ask where 9 goes with 1? That's not the worst question, you know. Oh, it could just go in here. Yeah, row 7 and 8 are letting us down a bit. Maybe we ask about 5s then. Like, where does 5 go with... I was about to say 3, but we actually know that 5 goes with 3 over here. Where does 5 go with 1? Maybe? Should we try that? I don't think that's a good one. Where does 5 go with 2? Not row 1. Not row 3. Not row 5, not row 6. No, this is not the way forward, is it? It really isn't. I was doing so well. If this is a 6, then this is a 5. But that just does nothing. That does nothing. I really hoped that I could give you a competent feature. Michael, I'm so sorry. An hour and 20 minutes in. I can still beat Simon, but I've got to find something big soon. Come on. What do we know? what do we know? These digits are 1, 2, 5, and whatever that is. Okay. Right. That's actually not a silly thought, is it? It really isn't. Oh, I mean, it's so much easier than that. Just ask where 2 goes in this column. It's not anywhere we've already marked something, and it's just not any of those. That just is a 2. Now ask where 1 goes in the column, and the answer is there. So this digit appears over here, along with 5. If that's a 5, we've already said that 5 goes with a 3 in row 3, so that would be a 3. And this would be a 4 with an 8 or 9. And if that's a 5, there's all sorts that could be. But now, shall we start asking, like, what can go with these? I mean, that's not 2, 4, or 7 already. It's not 3, because we know the 1, 3 pair goes in here. So it's 5, 6, 8, or 9. And that's... oh no, it's not 8. We actually have a 1, 8 pair assigned to one of those. Okay. So 8 and 3 are slightly restricted in that row. What about 2? 2 doesn't go with 3 or 1 anymore. It doesn't go with 4 anymore. So this is 5, 6, 8 or 9. It's not 7 because there's a 2, 7 pair just here. Have we accounted for any of the others? I don't think so. We already know there's a 1, 4 pair in here somewhere. Three in the row isn't a terrible idea. I'm actually going to write 3, 5, 7, 8, 9. Because, well, one of these is 5, and then the other one is whatever that digit is. But that's not a 3. Obviously, if that's 7, 8, 9, it's interest. Ooh! No, it's not 7, 8, or 9. Oh, hold on. What was my logic around row 3? Didn't I say that a 4 had to go with an 8 or a 9? I've been saying that all along. Oh, how silly. Because we know there's a 9 in there. So there is a 4 with an 8 in this row. That's right, isn't it? Yeah, I've been saying it's a 4 with an 8 or 9, only looking at the central pencil marks of this brick. But it's the corner pencil marks matter too. There is a 9 in here. So it can't be with a 4 with a 9, it's a 4 with an 8, which takes 8 out of there. So this is the 7-9 pair. So this isn't the 7-9 pair. Whoops. It's not the 7-9 pair. This is the 8-9 pair. And because we know... right, so that's not 7 or 9 because of that, but this is also not 8 because that would imply that's 4. Right. Yeah, I forgot about this 4 at the bottom. So this actually is our 3-5 pair, but that weirdly doesn't tell us anything about this digit. It does give us a 4-8 pair here, which is almost really good. If we can make this our 4-1 pair, which is looking very likely. I mean, can we prove it must be? Because if this is a 4-1 pair, what does it leave to go in there? And actually there's loads of options, so I don't think that's a problem. But we now have another 12. So the only 12 that's left is a 5-7 pair. That's not a bad thought. I'm almost tempted to go around the outside, remove what I've got. How many cells have I got around the outside? I suppose it's going to be 40, isn't it? Yeah, that's more than enough cells. I could go around the outside and just forget the sums. The sums are still a bit useful for inequalities, but I can probably cope with that. No, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. We're just going to put the pairs in. Sure, let's leave our nice little boundary in. So 1 2 1 3 1 4, whoops, 1 5 1 6 1 7 1 8 1 9 2 3 2 4 2 5 2 6 2 7 2 8 2 9 3 4 3 5 3 6 3 7 3 8 3 9 4 5 4 6 4 7 4 8 4 9. It's not the best way of doing it. It would be better as a table, but I don't really have that much note-taking space. 5 6 5 7 5 8 5 9 6 7 6 8 6 9 7 8 7 9 8 9. And actually we can go through. That's got commonalities of 2. They've got commonalities of 3, 4, 5. Those are 2, 3, 4. Oh, hold on, that's a 5, isn't it? Oh, and that's a 4. Yeah, my bad. That's a commonality of 3. 8 was 3 as well. No. No, these are both 4, aren't they? Yeah. Whoops, my mistake. Did I make that mistake before? No, I did. Okay, I think I fixed it. That has a commonality of 5. That's 4 and 4. That's 3. That's 5. That's 4 and 4. That's 3 and 3. That's 4. That's 3 and 3. That's 2. That's 3. That's 2 and 2. That's 2. And that's 1 and 1. Okay, right, now let's just highlight in red everything that we've already got. We've got a 1-2 pair. We've kind of accounted for our 1-3 pair. We know it's going to be over here. We don't have, well, no, we have, again, we've kind of accounted for our 1-4 pair. We know it's in row 7. 1-5 pair, I don't think we know anything about. 1-6, 1-7. We do know the 1-8 pair will go down there, so I'll make that yellow. 1-9 pair, I don't think we know anything about. Although 1-7 might be an interesting one to look at. Is it? Maybe it's not, actually. No, I don't know. Have we got a 2-3 pair? Yes, we have. It's over here. Have we got a 2-4 pair? Yes, we have. It's over here. A 2-5 pair? No. I don't think we do. 2-6. 2-7, we've basically accounted for it. 2-8, I don't think we have. And 2-9. Again, I don't think we have it. Yeah, that makes sense because our options here were 5, 6, 8 and 9 and it seems to be reflected in that. Yeah, we have our 3-4 pair. And we've accounted for our 3-5 as well, so they're both done. 3-6 we don't yet know. Same with 3-7, 3-8, 3-9 we've already got, that's over here. 4-5 and 4-6 we've already placed. That's looking good. And 4-7 actually, that's up here. And 4-8. We're smashing the 4s. And then 4-9. Oh, that's a point actually. 4-9 goes up here, doesn't it? Because 4-8 goes in here, and we said this was 4-8 or 4-9. So that's not a 9 because we can't make this a 4. So again, we've narrowed. Oh. Yeah, right, we've narrowed our remaining 4s down to those positions, but that doesn't help us with anything because we actually already know where all of the 4s go in the other in the other 5 columns, so that's not helpful. That's a shame. I suppose it tells us that either this is a 4 with a 9 or this is a 4 with a 1. Either of which would be a little bit helpful. But anyway, we've narrowed down our 4-9 to one of those positions, which is good. 5-6. I don't think we have any information about that. 5-7. That was one of our options over here, but I think there's lots of other choices. 5-8. Again, that's one of our options for here, but there's other choices we can make. Of 5-9. That could be one of the 14s that gets a commonality of 2 here. 6-7. I don't know if this is the way to solve this puzzle. 6-8. Okay. Sorry, I'm just looking at row 2 because we can't put the 1 and the 2 together. They've already been together. So one of them definitely goes with a 5 in here, and then the other one goes with whatever's left over out of these digits, which isn't that exciting. That's not a 9, by the way, because it is the same as a digit that goes in here. So one of these two is a 9. Okay. We didn't quite get all the way around. I know I can read those two because they're over here. But I don't think I can do anything else. Oh dear, I've basically made like 2 deductions in an hour. I did so well. And all of that promise is down the drain. I'm definitely losing to Simon now. There's no way I'm finishing this in the next, 20 minutes or so. I think the recording's been going for... Oh, a pop-up came up just at the wrong moment, but I think... Yeah, an hour 40, 100 minutes. And it is actually almost exactly midnight. Okay, so come on, let's get on with this. If I don't make any progress, I'm not above pausing and continuing this tomorrow. But I know it doesn't make for a particularly satisfactory video when there's a big gap in the middle. But I mean, there's already been a very big gap in the middle since I last made a deduction. Okay. Do I consider this one yet? I mean, there's going to be a 2 and a 5 in these two boxes. If they go together, then that's a commonality of 4, so it's unlikely they'll go here, because then this would have to have a commonality of 5, and it can't be 8, 1, 4, 5, or 2, 7. It would have to be 3, 6, which would leave 1 and 7 to go together there. That's fine. I don't see a problem with that. Hold on, how can this be a 3? No. If this is a 3, that's just a 5, isn't it? I'm going mad. I'm going absolutely mad. That's not at all an issue. That's absolutely fine. Come on, what are we missing? This is really low quality content now, isn't it? Oh dear, I can't be doing this. Do we have to pencil mark in like all of these options, for example? So if this is a 1-3 pair, it goes like this. If it sums to 14, it's a 6-8 pair in exactly that order. And if it sums to 15, it's either a 6-9 pair or it's a 7-8 pair. Is that any good? Okay, this is only a 3 or 7. What's this digit? It's 1, 6, 7 or 8. Has 8 already been with 3? No. 3 and 1 been together? Oh yeah, they're going to go together over here. So if this is a 3, this is not a 1. Oh. But is it something like this can't be a 3? No, it can be a 3, it just makes this a 7-1 pair. Is there an inequality I'm missing here? This is summing to 14 or 15. So, I mean, the only pencil marked combination that can't work here is a 6-7 pair. If this is 3, this isn't 1. Oh, that's a point. If this is 3, this is not 1, because we know that the 3-1 pair goes in this row, but that means that this is 1, so that would have to be 3. Oh, that's weird, but I think it does give us a 7 there. We've got a digit. Oh, no, we haven't. We've got a digit. Okay, so that's not a 7. It's also not an 8, because there is an 8-9 pair there, which I neglected to observe. So I guess we can remove those. We can remove a 7 from here, because we know that these two digits are these two digits, effectively. Is 7, 6 significant at all? I don't think so. Right, and we're now in a situation where pretty much whatever we do with that... Oh no, this can't be an 8. Okay, that's something. This can't be an 8 because that would force that to be a 9 and then it would be repeating that brick. And if this is a 7, then this specifically has to be an 8, otherwise we're repeating this brick. Okay. Yeah, that was a tricky one to spot. I don't feel terrible about missing that. I don't think. So if this is 3, this is 1, because this row has to contain a 3-1 pair. So this would be 6, this would be 7, forcing that to be 8, and then that cell has no fill. Wow, okay. Alright, so actually what I was missing was that there's some really, yeah, in my brain, fiddly stuff in the first two columns. I can see why Juggler thought that this would be quite an easy puzzle for me, because a lot of the logic so far has been right up my street, and maybe there was some logic available at this point that would also have helped, that was also up my street. But this I find really difficult to spot. Let's just go over that again, because I need to convince myself of it in my head. If this is a 3, then that has to be a 1, because this row needs a 3-1 pair. This becomes 6, this becomes 7. To avoid a 7-9 pair repeating, this becomes 8, and then this cell has no fill. Is there an easier way to see that? Because that feels really hard. Actually, no, there is. In this column, the 8 is here or here. So if we make this a 3, we have to make this a 1. But then the 8 in this column goes here, and now we've got a 3 and an 8 looking at this cell. Which, why can't that be a 9? It can't be a 9 because... I can't remember. Oh, because we said that in this row there's a 4-9 pair in a brick, and it can't be in this brick because that can't be a 4. Blimey, okay. Wow, so that can't be a 3. So that can't be a 1, so this is a 3-1 pair. Okay, alright, and actually that puts a 3 just here, which takes a 3 out of here, which means that a 3 in this column goes here, and that's a 5. Okay, that's not a 5. We are steaming ahead. Wow. Right, so I'm now going to upgrade that from yellow to red, because we now know exactly where that goes. And now, whichever one of these is a 9 cannot go with a 7 or an 8. So it must go with a 6, so this is a 1. And we've suddenly, out of nowhere, identified the location of our 1-7 pair. And the 8... Okay, so the 9 is going with the 6. The 8 obviously isn't going with another 8, it's going with a 7. So this is a 6-7 pair, and that puts an 8 just here. Okay, so we've loosely located... Whoa, that's big actually. We've loosely located the positions of the 9-6 pair and the 7-8 pair. So out of nowhere, summing to 15 is now gone. We can't do it again. Those are both of our sums to 15. So in... Oh, actually, this was where we needed a 14 or 15, wasn't it? Okay. What's 2-6 and 2-8? Hold on. Oh, this was available a while ago. Okay, this is big. Or whenever we got that as a 2. Right, yes, okay, so I think I had 5 as an option in this cell, and the logic would still have worked even when 5 was an option. 2-5, 2-6, 2-8, and 2-9 all have commonalities of 4. So that's forcing this to be a commonality of 5, so it has to be the 9. Right. So those... we get 9s out of those. Actually, we could have got that as a 5 earlier because we said that these 2 digits were these 2 digits. So this is a 5. 9 is now out of this cell, so that's an 8-7 pair, that's a 9-6 pair. Oh, I should have yellowed those earlier because I didn't exactly pinpoint which bricks they were. I don't need this green colouring anymore, do I? Let's get rid of that. But yes, now it is legitimate to make those both red because we know exactly where they are. Right, this 9 weirdly doesn't tell us anything about this one. This can still be 6 or 9, but not 8 because of that. But yeah, 7, 8 and 9 come out of here. So this is out of nowhere a 5-6 pair. Which means we can make this one red. This is now not a 6 because we've got a 5-6 pair in the column. Go on, we've got 13 minutes, come on, let's focus. We can still kind of beat Simon's time, although the video length of 2 hours did probably include about 10 minutes of birthdays and things like that. But I'll still count it. Oh, that was... I'm upset with how long I got stuck there, but I can kind of forgive myself. It was some very tricky steps. And it's very late in the day. Okay. So 5-6. So I suppose this isn't a 6. Well, we know it's not a 6 because of the 6-9 pair. It's also not a 4 or a 5. Well, it's not 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 9. It's 7 or 8. Do we have either of those already? We almost have a 5-8 pair here. Um, 5-7 is looking very difficult, but not impossible. 7. Here's a nice point. This row, we said that this is the row where 4 and 1 join up. So the other brick out of those two will include a 7. I'm just convincing myself that that is the only place 4 and 1 can join up. I think it is. Yeah, this will include a 7, and then one of 5, 6 and 9, whichever of 5, 6 and 9 doesn't get used in these two cells. But it's not going to be 9, is it, that 7 pairs up with, because we've already had a 7, 9. So the only place for 9 in the row is here. Have we already had a 7, 6 or a 7, 5? No, doesn't look like it. But now 2-9, I can make that red. I feel like I've got some reds to catch up on, but maybe I haven't. Maybe I've been diligent. Why is 4-9 yellow? Oh, because we know it's going over here. Okay. Oh, here's a point. If this is a 6, then once we use up a 1-4 pair in here, what will be left will be a 5-7 pair. And so this will have to be a 5-8 pair. And if this is a 5, well, that's a 5-8 pair, so this will have to be a 5-7 pair. So 5-7 and 5-8 are both yellow now, because one will go in row 1 and the other will go in row 7, but we just don't know where. So now let's look at 5s, because we need to find somewhere for a 5-9 pair. And it's not row 1, not row 2, not row 3, not row 4, there's an 8-9 pair here, not row 6, not row 7, not row 8, not row 9. So it is row 5. So there is a 5-9 pair in row 5. Let's make that yellow. And for that reason, this must be a 6, because there's a 5-9 pair in here. Oh, and also, there's literally a 9 just there. Sudoku is not my strong point. But, right, that gives us a 6-1 pair. There we go. That's nice. We might be running out of 4 common... No, we're not really, are we? What about 3 commonalities? Yeah, we've got 1-4 left, which might go in here. 1-5 can't. Right. Ah, that's annoying. That's really annoying. This is either a 1-4, or it's a 7 with either a 5 or a 6. And all 3 of those options are commonalities of 3. So that's a bit rubbish. Hold on, this can't be 8-6, that's a commonality of 2. Isn't it? We need that to be 5-4-3. So that can't be a 6. It's a 5. Right, sorry, so it is a 5. Let's just do some Sudoku. Now let's do some colouring. So 5-8 is gone. Now this, because 5-8 is gone, is a 7. So 5-7 is gone. And now 6-7 will appear in here where the 4-1 isn't. So we can kind of yellow that. We are getting there. We are definitely getting there. 2, 3, 5, 6. Oh, yeah, this row needs 2, 3, 5 and 6. The 5 can't go with a 3 or a 6, so the 5 must go with a 2, and the 3 must go with a 6. And 3-6 has a commonality of, let's find it, 3-6, a commonality of 5. And 2-5 only has a commonality of 4, so we put the 3-6 this side, and we put the 2-5 this side. And I know we can do some Sudoku, but I'm going to do some colouring first. Yes, here we go. 5 and 2 go in. These 4 digits are 3, 5, 8, and 9. Right, and the 5 isn't going with the 8 or the 3, so we've got a 5-9 pair somewhere. The 5 will go in the middle and the 9 on the outside. And then, what, a 3-8 pair? Yeah, that can go anywhere. But that does give me the ability to make this yellow. Right, we should know what's left in here. If the 4 is going with a 9, which I think we said it's going to, that was what that yellow meant. The 6 and the 8 go together, so that means we're able to yellow this. I'm going to write 4, 6, 8, 9. That will remind me what it is, which I know isn't that helpful. Oh, there's a 5 in this one, and it... what does it go with? It must go with 1 or 2, because the 1 and the 2 go in separate bricks here, because they've already been in the same brick. So in this row 1 and 2 go in separate bricks. What have we already had with 5? We've not had 1 5, but we have had 2 5. Where was our 2 5? Oh, it was here. So this must be 1 5. Okay, so this has suddenly gone red. Does that tell us anything? I don't think so. How are we doing with 5s? Oh, okay. They're forming a very, or almost very satisfying pattern. Yeah, we've just got those to fill in. And that's it. That will be all our 5s done. That's quite surprising. So we just need... well, okay, well, what's this then? A 2 with either a 7 or an 8. But the 2 7 is going to be taken over here, summing to 9. So this is a 2 8 pair. That's a 7. Out of nowhere we get to make this red. I feel like we should know where the 2 6 goes now, shouldn't we? Can't be row 1, or 2, or 3, or 4, or 5, or 6, or 7, or 9. So 2 and 6 form a pair in here. 2 6 is a 4 commonality, but it can't go in this brick anyway, just by Sudoku. So it must go in this brick, or this brick, but it's not by Sudoku. So this is a 2 6 pair. Right, this is going to be huge then. That's a 1. This can't be an 8 anymore because we've got the 1 8 pair over here. That's a 9. So this is a 3 with 7 or 8, but I think we have a 3 8 pair over here. So I think this needs to be a 3 7 pair, and we know the order. Oh, and there's also a 7 just there. So that's an 8. That's a 3, 3 1. Let's just be diligent with our redding. This is good. We know where the 2 6 pair is. That gives us a 6 X-wing. So 6 comes out of there. I think 6 paired with 8. So 8 comes out of there. Is that doing anything? Probably. This isn't a 7, so this isn't a 2. This isn't a 1, so this isn't an 8. This can't be the way to do it. What's left in here? It's the only cells without pencil marks. This was where we had our 1 4 pair and our 6 7 pair, wasn't it? But that's not a 7, so that's not a 6, and that's not a 1, so that's not a 4. So surely everything should be yellow now. Where's our 1 9 pair? Oh, it's here. When did that happen? Oh, quite recently actually. That's fair enough. Right, so everything is basically accounted for. We just need to deal with my arch nemesis Sudoku. That's a 9, so that's an 8, that's a 9, 7, 9. 7's out of here. Oh, 9's out of all of these places. Whoa. Right, this is just not 4 9, isn't it? So it's 6 8. So that's a 6, that's an 8. This is our 4 9 pair. That forms an X-wing on 4s, placing a 4 there. And we can't have a 4 1 pair over here, so this is a 4, this is a 1, so that's a 7 and a 6. This is all probably resolved now. This is an 8. What did 8 go within this row? 3, I think. We'll probably find out. 2 and 7 went together over here. That's just Sudoku. That should be a 3. Yeah, it is. Okay, that's what I was expecting. 6 and 2. Oh, we're just over 2 hours. That is gutting. Absolutely gutting, but it's okay. I'll cope. 9 and 4. 4, 8, 8, 2. That's a 2. And this should be an 8 and a 1. Whew. Wow, okay. We've done it. The Wall by Juggler in just over 2 hours. Yeah, I mean, let's just make all of these red and just admire that puzzle for a bit. Not too long because I need to go to bed, but yeah. Oh, I feel frustrated because it's, if I had spent that whole 2 hours and constantly feeling like I was always just a few minutes, like it was only ever a few minutes between deductions at most, then I would be very satisfied with a time of 2 hours, but I got so stuck in the middle. And I've probably let Michael down a little bit with that, but hey, this is a good taste of the life of a YouTube Sudoku content creator, having to do these live, unedited. You get to see my embarrassing ineptitude at spotting that there's a 2 next to a 2-7 pair. As I said at the time, that I don't think was the key to progressing. The key to progressing was much harder, and it didn't really impact the next step too much, but it certainly would have been a little bit easier if I had just resolved this 3, 2 and 4, 7. But no, I mean the construction, the idea for this, it's one of those absolutely brilliant ideas for a Sudoku where, in hindsight, I mean, I don't know about anyone else, but certainly as a setter, I look at that idea, the basic idea of having these bricks, 9 single-digit bricks, and then 36 double-digit bricks. It seems so obvious. Like, in hindsight, this seems like such an obvious idea for a puzzle, because it just works so beautifully, so neatly. I mean, what a brilliant break-in it was to discover that you had to have every combination of digits. That was gorgeous. And then the way that these circles worked, and the fact that you had in the puzzle every circle that can possibly be put into the puzzle in a really neat arrangement that gives you a kind of a grip on the puzzle at the start. And then the inequalities giving you these chains. Yeah, this is just such a beautifully set puzzle and a fantastic idea that I'm very annoyed I didn't have first, basically. But no, really, really well done. Really well set as well. Definitely some difficult steps in the middle. And I don't know if I could have done it without an enormous amount of external notation around the edge. But yeah, really, really lovely puzzle. I need to wrap up. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Like I said, I will leave a link to the Patreon, just nudging that out there, in the description. Thanks again to Juggler for being a patron. Yeah, like, comment, subscribe, all the usual stuff, and I will hopefully be back for more YouTube content in the near future. Bye for now.